Welcome back to another episode of the Unbreakable Business Podcast. I'm your host, Akua, and today we are going to be talking about what does it mean to be a CEO in your business? I know all of us, we say like, yes, I'm the CEO of my business. I own my business. But there is a difference between owning your business and being an actual CEO in your business. And these are shifts that I have been making that I'm starting to see a difference. And so that is what I'm going to talk about today. We talk about how being in the weeds can really slow you down as a business owner and what questions you need to be asking yourself to really show, okay, am I being a CEO in my business or not? And I think that this is a conversation that we just got to keep having at the forefront as business owners, right? Because we have an incredible vision of what it is that we want to do. And so this is a way to help make sure that we are putting our goals at the forefront all the time. And, you know, like I said, if we have to adjust and shift, that's okay. But at the end of the day, we are putting ourselves first, putting our goals first in our business and making sure that we are truly staying aligned so that we are creating a business that truly brings us so much joy and also makes an impact. So let's get into the episode. Today's episode, I'm really excited to just lean in and talk about it. This is kind of where I've been at these past 3 months, and I've really taken the time to lean into what it really means to be a CEO in your business. Many of us are solopreneurs, have a small team, currently building a team, or, you know, we already do have a team. Wherever we're at in our journey, I think that stepping more into a CEO role, we hear that a lot, but what does that actually really look like as business owners? And I know many of us, depending on your industry, we're either, you know, summer is here, so we're either really in the thick of it with our busy season, or we're really taking that time to just relax and enjoy ourselves. And so either way, I really want to encourage you as you listen to this episode to really carve out some time to process and reflect and really think about where you're at in your business journey and where you honestly want to go. Because I know that's where I have currently been. And I think it's just so important for us to be consistently revisiting that so we can stay grounded in what our vision is, because it's so easy to forget, or I don't want to say forget, but maybe deprioritize what that vision is when you're in your day-to-day. Like I said, some of us are in our busy season. And so that's what we are talking about today, because you have built something so powerful as a business owner, right? You are making such an incredible impact. Like the work that you do is so valuable. So if you're looking to grow, how can we make your vision come to life to where you can impact so many more people? And so that's why I'm really excited for us to talk about, you know, how to lead like the business that you're building. How can I start to show up as that business owner? How can I start to show up as that CEO? You know, one of the major things that was a come to Jesus moment kind of in my business, what got me here as a business owner to where I am at this current point, is not going to be what gets me to where I want to go, right? Like there are some changes that I really need to make. There are some ways that I really have to lean in and operate in a different way, really get to know myself in a different way in order to get to where I want to get to. And so one of the main things for me is that I realized is that how being in the weeds, honestly, it really slows you down as a business owner. You know, a lot of these everyday tasks can really buckle you down. And we hear this all the time of automate, right? But I think it's just so important because number one, the reason why you are being in the weeds and it's really slowing you down as a growth as a business owner is because decision fatigue is so real. And so if you are taking that time to fulfill every client ask, if you are, every single piece of content needs to be reviewed, or, you know, then your ability to think strategically evaporates, that context switching, right? Like that slows us down. I'm pretty sure research has shown that when you stop what you're doing, especially when you're in that deep work to go answer a quick email, stop really quick to go review something else, that can really slow you down and that can eventually really burn you out and honestly can lead possibly to resentment in your business. So that's one thing that I have really been seeing, and that's something that I have even been dealing with of like, okay, like how do I get out of this decision fatigue? Number two is like things get bottlenecked, right? Like if you feel like my business cannot run without me, if you take a day off and you feel like your business is going to crumble, where like you're like, I can't even take a week off. And I know, again, we hear this all the time, but I know so many business owners who have been in the game and they're still currently telling me right now, Akua, I have been in business for over 5 years and I have never taken a vacation. And so again, that's where you have to really sit down and really reevaluate of like what your systems are in place, right? To where like, if you feel like you cannot take time to step away from your business, that's where you really have to really ask yourself some really hard hitting questions. And so I think that's something important. If progress in your business stops when you're trying to rest, if you're sick, then you got to go back and really revise some things, because life be lifing, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Things always happen, whether good or bad, whatever. Like, life is an incredible, beautiful journey, but sometimes it can be hard. And so if anything happens in your life that can stop the progress of your business, then you have to really take that time to really start asking yourself some really hard questions. As a CEO, you are that person, you are that visionary, you are laying down the roadmap. You have to take that time to really recalibrate, to really reset so that you are the best version of yourself to be able to build the business and uphold that vision, because people care about your business because you have to make them care. And if you already have those people that are there for you, right, you got to make sure that you are the best version of you, because they are excited too to help you fulfill your dream. So that's one thing I really want to hone in on, is of like, if you're finding yourself in the weeds, it's because like if everything is bottlenecked, like nothing can move without you. Even if you have a small team, you still feel like, okay, I have people that I delegated things to and all of that, but it's still not making a difference for me. I still feel like I have to be involved in everything. Again, that's where you have to really take the time to ask yourself, as business owners, what am I doing? What do things look like for me? What do I want my future to look like? So that's another point as well. And I think one thing that I want people to realize is that in your business, if you can't step away, you have not built a business. And it's like, you have built a system, right? Because systems are all around us. Whether we believe it or not, how we operate in our life is a system. How we operate in our business, it's a type of system. Now, it could be a system that's serving you or not. And so if you can't step away from your business, it is a system where you are at the center of it. And a system like that is super fragile. A system like that is not sustainable. A system like that is not doable. And so again, you have to really start asking yourself as a business owner, is like, what kind of system can I create where I am not the center? The third thing is, and this is something that I realized and was very eye-opening for me, and I hope it is for you too, we sometimes confuse chaos for commitment in our business. Let me explain what that is, because this was something I was so guilty of, and I find myself getting into those habits constantly. Responding to endless messages, not honoring yourself by like taking a break, not honoring yourself by like even taking the time to make yourself lunch. That constant hustle 24/7, where you are sacrificing your health, your peace of mind. We view that as, well, this is my commitment to my business. You know, I don't think that's what it is. You know what I mean? I think that doesn't mean that you care more for your business. I think, again, it's about working smarter, not harder. And a lot of the times we find ourselves kind of in this constant hustle, and we are going to get to wherever we want to go no matter the cost. And now, don't get me wrong, I do think that, of course, as a business owner, sacrifices have to be made. Absolutely. But are they the right sacrifices that are going to help you get from point A to point B? That's the type of thing that you want to be thinking about. And that's what's you have to be more strategic, because, of course, I always say that everything in life, business, whatever, always comes at a cost, and it can be good or bad. And so, like, again, really taking that time to reflect, am I making this decision here, and what is this going to cost me? And if what it costs you outweighs what you can gain from it, then you got to really reevaluate and re-strategize. We have to really take that time to be a lot more strategic in our business and stop confusing chaos for commitment, because the more chaotic and the more you keep dishonoring yourself and your boundaries, you don't get a reward for that. If anything, you just end up resenting your business and being frustrated and feeling like you're never enough. There are some subtle signs in your business that can show that you are not fully operating as a CEO. And like I said, I'll be in my day-to-day, and then all of a sudden I have to actually take the time to really pause and reflect and be like, damn, do I need to be doing this right now? Or is it something that I can automate, right? Or is it something I can give to somebody else? And so one of the main things that popped up for me was where we confuse urgency with importance. That was a major one for me, right? Like, I'm spending, again, all of my day reacting. Everything that I was doing was reacting, from emails, text messages, client work. Everything about me that I was doing was very reactionary. The second major thing is not protecting your time. And I always go back to think of one of my top episodes that I listened to from our previous show, the Independent Business Podcast. We had an episode with Shay Cochran, and she built a multi-six-figure business by only 16 hours a week. And so that's all that she had, because she didn't want to sacrifice the important things in her life, like being a mom, being a wife, being there for her family, being there for her friends, whatever that looks like for her. She did not want to sacrifice that. And I think a lot of the times we think that in order to be successful, again, we have to sacrifice some of the things that really that are important to to us. And I love her story because she shows us that you truly can have it all. It's absolutely possible. We don't have to have this black and white thinking of like, okay, in order for me to build this business, I can't show up and show up for the people that I truly care about. She did it with 16 hours a week. And how did she do that? She protected her time. She was very strategic in the task that she chose to do. What can be so hard as business owners, especially when we see people who are successful and that we feel like, okay, yes, like this person has made it. You're like, I want to hurry up and get there. Like we get so frustrated with our progress and all of that stuff. And sometimes it can be hard because you're like, okay, fine, I want to protect my time and focus on these strategic tasks, but then these other things that I feel is of equal importance are going to also, slow me down. And like, I'm not going to be able to make progress in the way that I want to. And I hear you because I'm also guilty of that where I'm like, I really want to hurry up and get to where I am now. And so I got to do all the things. And it's just not possible. Really taking the time to take things in bite-sized chunks makes all of the difference because again, it's step by step by step. And before you know it, you've reached the journey and like you're in your journey where you have come so much further because you've actually taken the time to protect what it is that you do so that you can show up again as your best. And so we're definitely going to link that episode into our show notes because it's just so impactful. It's a really great first step to really teach you, okay, like how can I really show up more as a CEO in my business? The next subtle shift that I see business owners doing is that we can't name our goals besides revenue. And okay, look, I love money just like the next person, okay? And revenue is so important in our business. And I think sometimes when we focus so hard on hitting those revenue goals, it makes it harder to reach them. I don't know, that's what I think. And because for me, like, I'm not a big zodiac person, but I'm a Capricorn, honey. And one thing I will say about Capricorns, we love money. I love money. I'm not going to deny that. And so for me, I was like, okay, I really want to hit this revenue goal. And that was all that like my focus on where it wasn't even enjoyable anymore. I wasn't enjoying the journey. So, really I had to take that time to really ask myself, okay, cool, what do you want to focus on this quarter? Okay, yes, this is the revenue goal I want to hit, but what else do I also want to focus on, right? Do I want to build and deepen my relationships with my community? Whatever it is that you want to do, whatever your goal is, that's always going to feed into your revenue. There's more things to focus on besides revenue, though revenue is really important, but it's not the end all be all of a business. And sometimes that can remove the fun out of being a business owner and why you truly do what you truly do. Another subtle sign that I noticed that kind of showcased that we're not really being a CEO, even though we think that we are, is that we are doing tasks that we've outgrown. You start to kind of get annoyed with some of the tasks that you're doing. Like for me, I would just get so annoyed when I had to onboard every client. And so that's why, I have really created those systems, especially in my HoneyBook, so smooth where like I don't have to worry about it because those were things I just didn't enjoy. And because I didn't enjoy it, I dropped the ball and then I lost more money. So I think again that is such an important piece to think about, whether you are writing every caption on social media, onboarding every single client, you're holding on to tasks that you just don't need to anymore, that there is a solution for. And so really think about, okay, like what are some tasks that I have done in my business that I no longer need to do that will really be able to free up that space for you to lean into being more of a CEO. So I've kind of just thrown a lot at you, but these are some key things I wanted you to really just be thinking about because it's something that I have been currently thinking about and really just revising how I want to show up, especially right now in this season. And so here are some things that I think can be so helpful and are just really important for us to really make that CEO mindset shift. So here are a couple of tips on that. Number one, I think that we just really need to redefine our role as a business owner, as a CEO. One thing, again, I'm going to go back to that episode with Shay Cochran on the Independent Business Podcast, where she says you want to build your business, the business that you want tomorrow, whether 6 months from now, whether a year from now. So really think about redefining your role of like, okay, like what is that going to look, this role going to look like 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Really take that time to really plan out your role and your business that way. Because again, you're building for tomorrow. And it doesn't feel that way when you're in the day-to-day, like in the here and now, but at the end of the day, the choices that you make, the decisions that you make in your business today will absolutely affect how your business will run and operate. To really redefine that role to where it shows where you're going, not where you're currently at. And I think it's just a reminder that every decision that we make in our business is so important. So that's one of those key things is redefining that role to where decision fatigue just doesn't exist, because now you feel a lot more confident saying yes to the right things and saying no to the things that don't serve you, saying no to the things that are not going to move you or propel you forward in your business. And another thing to even add to that is to really create a list that has tasks that only you can do, where it's like the bread and butter of your business. Like for me as a storytelling strategist, my services are very specific and very tailored to, like, I'm the only person that can do it. So that's an area, really redefining my services, really working on that client work. Those are things that I really want to focus on that's going to help me propel further in my business. Not onboarding a client. That is something that people can do, or that you can automate yourself. Like I said, my HoneyBook saves me so much time when automating a client. I have my welcome packet that I've made, and it takes me less than 10 minutes to be able to go in there and just redefine a couple things and send it off to a client. That saves me so much time, where I, again, don't have that decision fatigue, and where I'm not getting burned out. And also, things are not getting bottlenecked through me. That's a task that either somebody can do or HoneyBook can do it for me. So really take that time as you're defining that role to add the only I can do list, and list out all of those tasks that only you can do. And again, that's going to make a big difference for you of really like, okay, what can I automate in my business? Like, there are so many ways now with AI that's just so accessible to us that makes it a lot easier to build out our business. And so really think through of like the tasks as well when you're redefining that role of what can I do. Another thing is to really redefine ownership in your business, whether you have a team or you don't. A lot of the times we always say, like, I got to delegate tasks to somebody. A lot of the times when a lot of us are trying to build a team, it's so hard for us to let go because we're just delegating a task. We had an amazing episode with Audrey Joy Kwan, who talks all about hiring and learning your style and the leadership styles that you want to lean into as you're wanting to start building a team. And so we're also going to put that show in the show notes. I want people to also listen to that one as well because it was phenomenal. I wanted to highlight that episode because I remember this specific piece that she said that was so impactful. It's more than just delegating a task. You really want to give people ownership. When you are giving people ownership over something, that excites people to do the job. You know what I mean? Of whatever it is that you're giving them, because you're saying to them, hey, I trust you. I trust you and your expertise to really be able to deliver this in a way that's going to help propel me forward. And I think that is so important. So I think a lot of the times when we are assigning tasks that might even seem a little bit mundane, like even, for example, for marketing, I have now decided to bring somebody on from a marketing for my business because I'm like, I need a little bit more help. I need a little bit more support because I don't have the capacity right now. That was the main thing I thought of when I decided to bring her on, because I'm like, well, I'm also a marketer and she's a marketer. Well, then that means if I'm a marketer, I feel like then like that means, is that going to reflect that I don't know what I'm doing as a business owner, that I have to have her come in and help my business? That was a mindset shift that I had to really work through. And it was like, no, Akua, you just in the season of life just don't have the capacity. And so you want somebody that you can trust. And so I let her run with it, and she has already delivered in terms of really building out a content system for me that will make it easier for me to create content so that she can go off and edit it. And I trust her. I trust her expertise to where, again, I don't have to hound her down. I don't have to look over her shoulder, right? So again, really think about how can I, instead of delegating, how can I have this person really own this? I'm giving this as them to something to own, like really empowering them to own this so they can move forward and feel more confident and excited in the work that they do. Because I will tell you, like, that mindset shift for me has made it a lot more fun to work with her because I'm more creative. She brings such amazing stuff to the table, as do I, and it's been fun to really think through about like what we can start creating together. And so, and I think it just builds like a really, really beautiful relationship. So again, really think about and redesign how you build ownership in your business. The last tip I think is so important, and it is truly the basic, and something that you can literally do today, is to protect that time on your calendar. You need to put CEO time on your calendar. And I know sometimes it's easier said than done. I know sometimes when things are busy, I know when things are happening, even if it's 30 minutes, put it on your calendar, because that is what's going to have you reset. I have just seen it within myself and so many other business owners. We get so caught up, like I've said before, in that day-to-day, or like when we're so busy that we lose sight of what's important to us. We lose sight of what we value as business owners. And so I really want to remind you to honor yourself, put yourself first, right? Put yourself first and put that CEO time on your calendar, whether that is and I separate CEO day from finance day. I know sometimes too, I know some business owners will have them together of like, okay, CEO time, I'm looking at revenue and this and that. I actually have now separated the two because I also have realized, and I think I talked earlier about context switching, I realized I slow down a lot more when I'm context switching. And I'm like, okay, I'm focusing on this, and now I got to switch over to finances. And it takes me a second to get resettled into this new task. So I have now even separated that, where on Mondays, I focus specifically on revenue, money, where are things at, what do I need to be doing in terms of that, and like just the really financial health of my business. And then now my CEO days are on Fridays, where that is specifically where that is dedicated to where, okay, like what does ownership look like in my business? What are some things that I can only do? And then what do I need to really automate in my business and move forward with, right? So these are some things that I really want you to think about as a business owner. That to me is such a key thing. When you are able to even just put some of that protected time in your calendar, I don't care if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever that is, put that on your calendar. And when it comes up, do it. Take that time aside, either have an accountability group, whatever that looks like, to really honor that time for you as a CEO, so that you have the space to dream, so you can consistently make sure, like, is this still the dream that I even want? Because sometimes we are like, okay, I originally wanted this, but things shifted, things changed, we change. And so now it's like, do I even still want this? You want to always be making sure that you're having that conversation with yourself. And that's what the CEO time is all about. Having that conversation with yourself as a business owner, of like, and as an individual, that does this business sustain my life, right? Because I say this all the time, that business should fit into your life, not the other way around. So does the business that I'm creating, does it fit into my life and what I'm trying to do? So those are the main things that I wanted to talk about today. And, I really hope that this episode was super helpful for you. One thing I always ask myself now, even to close out this episode, I always say now as well, as like a good meter to see, okay, like, how am I doing? Am I being a CEO or not? Is this something 7-figure business owner Akua would do? It's either a yes or no. And that has been so helpful for me to make sure that I'm staying aligned. I know my goals as a business owner and where I want to go to, and I know we all have the goals. So whatever that looks like for you, but asking yourself, is this what your future self would do? And ask yourself that question, and it really helps make it a lot easier to make decisions in your business. That is all I have for you today, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. And as always, until next time, thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable Business. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a little extra inspiration. Remember, no matter what life throws your way, you have the power to keep going, and your business can be unbreakable too. Until next time, keep building, keep growing, and stay unbreakable.